The ancient Earth warship, UES Defiant, roars to life, its dormant systems awakening after centuries of silence. In the vast emptiness of space, this unexpected activation sends shockwaves through the losing human fleet, offering a glimmer of hope in their desperate battle against the Daxamite invaders. Commander Bruce Ward stands on the bridge of his battered flagship, his weathered face illuminated by the flickering displays of a losing war. Alarms blare as another human cruiser succumbs to the relentless Daxamite onslaught. The technologically superior aliens, led by the ruthless Admiral Dana, have systematically conquered human colonies across the galaxy, pushing humanity to the brink of extinction. An urgent transmission cuts through the chaos. Commander Ward, we're detecting an energy surge in Sector 7 Alpha. It's the UES Defiant, sir. She's powering up. Bruce's eyes widen in disbelief. The Defiant, a relic from humanity's golden age of space exploration, thought lost to time. As the ancient warship comes online, its advanced sensors sweep across the battlefield, assessing the dire situation. The Defiant's weapon systems activate, revealing capabilities far beyond anything in the current human or Daxamite arsenals. Bruce immediately recognizes the ship's potential to turn the tide of the war. His mind races with the possibilities as he issues a fleet-wide order. All ships regroup around the Defiant. Use her as a rallying point. The human fleet, battered and on the verge of defeat, limps towards the newly awakened behemoth. The Daxamite forces, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of this unknown vessel, momentarily halt their advance. Admiral Dana's sneering face appears on the main view screen, her initial dismissiveness quickly replaced by shock as the Defiant effortlessly obliterates several Daxamite cruisers with weapons of unimaginable power. Bruce transfers his command to the Defiant, his boots echoing through ancient corridors as he makes his way to the bridge. The ship's systems recognize him, granting access to its vast array of advanced technologies. At the heart of the vessel, Bruce discovers an AI core containing the accumulated military knowledge and strategies of humanity's past. The AI, calling itself Athena, interfaces with Bruce's neural implant. In an instant, he gains access to centuries of tactical data and combat experience. Athena's calm voice resonates in his mind. Commander Ward, I've analyzed the current conflict. Shall we proceed with a counteroffensive? As the battle intensifies, the Defiant's superior technology allows the human fleet to quickly gain ground. Daxamite ships, once thought invincible, crumble under the onslaught of weapons they can neither understand nor defend against. For the first time in the war, the alien forces are pushed back. Admiral Dana's face contorts with rage and fear as she witnesses her carefully laid plans unravel. All ships, full retreat. Regroup at Rally Point Omega. The Daxamite armada, now in disarray, flees the battlefield, leaving behind the wreckage of their once mighty fleet. In the aftermath of this sudden reversal, Bruce learns the true nature of the Defiant. It was part of a secret program, a fail-safe against existential threats to humanity. The ship had waited, dormant, for the moment when it was needed most. As news of the Defiant's existence spreads, a surge of hope ripples through the remaining human colonies. Bruce, now in command of humanity's most powerful weapon, faces the daunting task of mastering the ship's incredible capabilities and devising a strategy to end the war before the Daxamites can adapt to this new threat. The war that seemed lost mere hours ago now hangs in the balance. With the ancient warship Defiant at the forefront, humanity prepares to take the fight to the Daxamites, determined to reclaim their place among the stars. The bridge of the UES Defiant hummed with renewed energy as Commander Bruce Ward surveyed the battlefield. The remnants of the Daxamite fleet disappeared into the inky blackness of space, leaving behind a trail of debris and broken ships. But Bruce knew this victory was only the beginning. Athena, he called out to the ship's AI, initiate a full system scan. I want to know everything this ship is capable of. Scanning initiated, Commander, Athena's voice responded, echoing through the ancient corridors. Estimated time to completion, 30 minutes. As the scan progressed, Bruce turned to his communications officer. Send word to all remaining human ships. We're regrouping at the Epsilon Eridani system. It's time we took stock of our situation and planned our next move. The human fleet, battered but unbroken, limped towards the designated coordinates. As they traveled, Bruce pored over the incoming data from the Defiant scan. His eyes widened as he realized the true extent of the ship's capabilities. "Commander," Athena's voice cut through his concentration. "Scan complete. I've detected a revolutionary faster-than-light drive system. Its capabilities far exceed anything in our current arsenal or that of the Daxamites." Bruce leaned forward, his mind racing with possibilities. "Can we replicate this technology?" "Affirmative, Commander. However, it will require extensive analysis and adaptation to integrate with our existing fleet." Bruce nodded, a plan already forming in his mind. As the fleet assembled in the Epsilon Eridani system, he called for an emergency meeting of his top officers and engineers. Among them was Chief Engineer Malik Hassan, a brilliant technician known for his innovative solutions. Bruce briefed the team on the Defiance FTL drive, watching as Malik's eyes lit up with excitement. "Malik," Bruce said, "I need you and your team to reverse engineer this technology. If we can outfit our entire fleet with this drive, we'll have a significant tactical advantage." Malik nodded, his mind already working through the complexities. "It won't be easy, Commander, but we'll get it done. Give us a week and we'll have a prototype ready for testing." As Malik and his team set to work, Bruce turned his attention to the Defiant's vast database. With Athena's help, he uncovered detailed star charts of unexplored regions and information about potential alien allies. "Athena, what can you tell me about the Zephyrians?" Bruce asked, his finger tracing the outline of an unfamiliar star system on the holographic display. "The Zephyrians are an advanced species with a history of conflict with the Daxamites," Athena replied. "They are known for their isolationist policies, but their technology and strategic location could prove invaluable in our current conflict." Bruce weighed the risks and potential rewards. "Prepare a diplomatic mission. We need to make contact with the Zephyrians and explore the possibility of an alliance." As preparations for the diplomatic mission began, an urgent transmission came through from their intelligence network. Bruce's face hardened as he listened to the report. "The Daxamites are conscripting subjugated species into their military," he informed his officers. "They're bolstering their numbers, but this could also be their weakness." Colonel Jack Harper, a seasoned tactician, spoke up. "Commander, if we can disrupt their supply lines, we might be able to sow discord among these conscripted forces." Bruce nodded in agreement. "Good thinking, Jack. I want you to lead a task force. Use our new FTL capabilities to launch hit-and-run attacks on their supply routes." Next, he turned to Commander Sarah Chen, an expert in covert operations. "Sarah, I have a special assignment for you. Infiltrate the Daxamite-controlled worlds and make contact with these conscripted species. If we can incite rebellion from within, it could cripple their war effort." As the officers dispersed to carry out their missions, the Defiant sensors lit up with an unexpected reading. Bruce frowned, studying the data. "Athena, what am I looking at?" "I've detected an anomaly in a nearby nebula, Commander," the AI responded. "Initial scans suggest the presence of a massive structure of unknown origin. It bears similarities to the Defiant's construction." Bruce's mind raced with the implications. Another relic from humanity's forgotten past? The potential was enormous, but so were the risks of diverting resources from their current objectives. As he stood on the bridge, weighing his options, Bruce felt the weight of command more keenly than ever. The course he chose now would shape not just the outcome of the war, but potentially the future of the entire galaxy. Bruce's contemplation of the mysterious structure in the nebula was interrupted by a sudden decision. "Athena, plot a course for that anomaly. We need to investigate this immediately." "Course plotted, Commander," Athena replied. "Estimated arrival time, 2 hours, 37 minutes. Bruce turned to his communications officer. "Inform the fleet of our change in plans. We'll delay the diplomatic mission to the Zephyrians. This could be too important to ignore." As the Defiant and its small escort fleet entered the swirling gases of the nebula, visibility dropped to near zero. The ship's advanced sensors cut through the cosmic haze, revealing a massive structure looming ahead. "My God," Bruce whispered, his eyes widening at the sight. The object was a space station of immense proportions, far larger than anything humanity had ever constructed. Its design was unmistakably human, yet far more advanced than current technology. Athena, scan the station. What are we looking at? The AI's voice resonated through the bridge. The structure appears to be of human origin, Commander. Preliminary scans indicate it has been dormant for centuries. I detect no signs of active life support or power systems. Bruce made a quick decision. Prepare a boarding party. Malik, you're with me. We need to see what's inside this thing. Chief Engineer Malik Hassan nodded, his eyes gleaming with excitement at the prospect of exploring the ancient station. The boarding party, clad in environmental suits, entered the station through a long, unused airlock. As they moved through the dark corridors, their suit lights illuminated walls covered in a fine layer of cosmic dust. Commander, Malik called out, his voice filled with awe. Look at this. Bruce turned to see Malik standing before a large insignia etched into the wall. As he brushed away the dust, the name Prometheus was revealed. Prometheus, Bruce mused, a titan who gave fire to humanity. Fitting name for a station of this magnitude. As they delved deeper into the station, Athena's voice came through their comms. Commander, I've successfully interfaced with the station's systems. It appears to be a shipyard and research facility of incredible sophistication. Suddenly, the station hummed to life around them. Lights flickered on, and holographic displays sprang into existence, filling the air with a soft blue glow. Athena, what have you found? Bruce asked, his heart racing at the implications of this discovery. Commander, the data stored here is overwhelming. This station houses a fleet of dormant warships, each comparable to the Defiant in capability. There are also blueprints for advanced energy shields, weapons systems, and, Commander, there's more. Medical technology far beyond our current capabilities, and terraforming equipment that could transform planets in days. Bruce's mind reeled at the possibilities. This discovery could change everything. As he was about to order Malik to begin reactivation procedures, an urgent transmission cut through. Commander Ward, Colonel Jack Harper's voice crackled over the comm. The Daxamites have launched a massive counterattack. They're heading for New Terra in full force. Our hit-and-run tactics were too successful. We've provoked a major response. Bruce's blood ran cold. New Terra was humanity's last major stronghold besides Earth. If it fell, the war could be lost in a single stroke. He turned to Malik, his decision made in an instant. Malik, stay here with a team. Begin reactivating these ships. I'm taking the Defiant to New Terra. But Commander, Malik protested, we've only scratched the surface of what's here. I know, Bruce replied, already moving towards the airlock. But if we don't defend New Terra, none of this will matter. Get those ships online and join us as soon as you can. Back aboard the Defiant, Bruce ordered an immediate jump to New Terra. As the ship's FTL drive engaged, he prayed they wouldn't be too late. The Defiant dropped out of FTL on the edge of the New Terra system, and Bruce's heart sank at the sight before him. A massive Daxamite fleet filled the space around the planet, their weapons blazing against the outnumbered human defenders. Athena, Bruce called out, access the tactical data on the Daxamites from Prometheus. We need every advantage we can get. As the AI processed the information, Bruce surveyed the battlefield. The human ships, now equipped with the reverse-engineered FTL drives, were putting up a valiant fight. But they were vastly outnumbered, and the Daxamites' superior firepower was taking a heavy toll. At the heart of the Daxamite formation, Bruce spotted Admiral Dana's flagship. The alien commander had committed herself personally to this assault, clearly intending to deliver a killing blow to human resistance. All hands, battle stations, Bruce ordered, his voice calm despite the dire situation. Weapons, target the Daxamites' flanking cruisers. Let's remind them what the Defiant can do. The ancient warship surged forward, its advanced weapons systems unleashing a barrage that tore through the Daxamite lines. Ship after ship crumbled under the Defiant's assault, creating chaos in the enemy formation. Admiral Dana's face appeared on the main view screen, her alien features contorted with rage. So, the ghost ship returns, she snarled. It won't save you this time, human. Your species ends today." Bruce ignored her taunts, focusing instead on coordinating the defense. With Athena's tactical insights, he orchestrated a brilliant series of maneuvers, using the Defiant as a linchpin to hold the line against the overwhelming Daxamite force. But even with the Defiant's incredible capabilities, the sheer number of enemy ships threatened to overwhelm them. As Bruce watched another human cruiser succumb to Daxamite fire, he wondered how long they could hold out. Just then, a transmission came through from Commander Sarah Chen. "Commander Ward, we've done it. The conscripted species on Daxamite-controlled worlds are in open rebellion. Admiral Dana will have to divert ships to deal with the uprisings." True to Sarah's words, a significant portion of the Daxamite fleet began to break off, jumping to FTL to deal with the unexpected threat to their rear. But the battle was just getting started. Even with their numbers reduced, the Daxamites still held a significant advantage. Bruce knew they needed something more to turn the tide completely. As if in answer to his unspoken prayer, multiple FTL signatures appeared at the edge of the system. Bruce held his breath, unsure if these were reinforcements or the final nail in humanity's coffin. His question was answered as a fleet of sleek, powerful warships dropped out of FTL, their design matching that of the Defiant. Malik's voice came over the comm, filled with triumph. "Commander, the cavalry has arrived!" The newly awakened ships from Prometheus immediately engaged the Daxamite fleet, catching them in a devastating crossfire. The balance of power shifted in an instant, with the advanced human warships wreaking havoc on the enemy formation. Admiral Dana's face reappeared on the console, this time filled with disbelief and fear. "All ships, full retreat," she ordered, her voice cracking. "Fall back to Rally Point Omega." As the Daxamite fleet began to disengage, Bruce faced a critical decision. Should he order a pursuit, potentially ending the war in one decisive stroke, or should he hold back, consolidating their gains and preparing for the next phase of the conflict? The choice took a toll on him as he watched the enemy ships fleeing the battlefield. Whatever he decided, Bruce knew that the war had entered a new phase. With the power of Prometheus at their disposal, humanity now had the means not just to defend itself, but to take the fight to the enemy. As the last Daxamite ship disappeared into FTL, Bruce took a deep breath. The immediate threat had passed, but the real challenges were just beginning. The revelation of Prometheus and its game-changing technologies had shifted the balance of power dramatically. Now he had to figure out how to use this newfound strength responsibly. Bruce turned to his crew, their faces a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. "Well done, everyone," he said, his voice filled with persistence. "But our work is not nearly finished. Let's assess the damage and prepare for our next move." As the crew sprang into action, Bruce's mind raced with the possibilities and dangers that lay ahead. The fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now rested in their hands. Hands. With Prometheus and its technological marvels now at their disposal, they had a fighting chance against the Daxamites. But Bruce knew that raw power alone wouldn't guarantee victory. "Athena, give me a full damage report on our fleet," Bruce ordered, his eyes scanning the tactical display. As the AI compiled the data, Bruce turned to his communications officer. "Send word to all ships. We're not pursuing the Daxamites. Instead, we'll regroup and consolidate our position here at New Terra." The officer nodded, relaying the orders. Bruce could see the questioning looks on some of his crew members' faces, but he held firm. This was a pivotal moment, and he couldn't afford to overreach. Over the next few weeks, New Terra became a hive of activity. Chief Engineer Malik Hassan worked tirelessly, overseeing the integration of Prometheus's advanced technologies into the human fleet. The Defiant's hangar bay was filled with the constant hum of machinery, as ships were outfitted with new shielding systems and weapons arrays. Bruce watched from the observation deck as a cruiser emerged from the retrofit process, its hull gleaming with new armor plating. He turned as Malik approached, datapad in hand. "Commander, you need to see this," Malik said, his eyes bright with excitement. He pulled up a holographic display showing a barren planet rapidly transforming into a lush, habitable world. "The terraforming equipment from Prometheus," Bruce breathed. "How long did this take?" "Just 3 days," Malik replied. "We've already identified 5 key worlds for immediate terraforming. This could expand our resource base exponentially. As Bruce absorbed this information, his comm unit chimed. Commander Sarah Chen's face appeared on the small screen. "Bruce, our operations are bearing fruit," Sarah reported, her voice low and urgent. "We've successfully incited uprisings on 3 Daxamite-controlled worlds. Their control is slipping." Bruce nodded, a grim smile on his face. "Good work, Sarah. Keep the pressure on them." Just as he ended the call, a new face appeared on the main view screen. It was a man Bruce didn't recognize, with sharp features and intense eyes. "Commander Ward, I'm Dr. Marcus Reeves," the man introduced himself. "I'm a xenobiologist who's been studying the Daxamites, and I have information that could change everything." Bruce leaned forward, intrigued. "Go on, Doctor." "The Daxamites aren't what we thought they were," Reeves explained. "They're not a naturally evolved species. They're artificial, created by an ancient civilization that's long gone." The implications hit Bruce like a thunderbolt. "Are you saying we might be able to exploit their artificial nature?" Reeves nodded. "Precisely. I believe we can develop a bioweapon that targets their specific genetic structure. It could end this war without further bloodshed." Bruce's mind raced with possibilities. With their new technological edge, the growing unrest in Daxamite territory, and now this potential bioweapon, they had a real chance to end the war decisively. He called an emergency meeting of his top officers, laying out a bold 3-pronged plan of attack. As he spoke, he could see the mix of excitement and apprehension on their faces. "We'll hit them with everything we've got," Bruce concluded. "A full frontal assault with our new fleet, a stealth mission to deploy the bioweapon, and a diplomatic push to bring the Zephyrians to our side." Colonel Jack Harper nodded approvingly. "It's about time we took the fight to them, Commander." But before Bruce could respond, Athena's voice cut through the room. "Commander, I must warn you. My analysis of historical data suggests that this course of action mirrors events that led to the downfall of the previous human civilization." The room fell silent as the implications of Athena's words sank in. Bruce felt the weight of history pressing down on him, the ghost of a forgotten past whispering warnings in his ear. "We can't ignore this," Dr. Reeves said, breaking the silence. "If we're not careful, we could be repeating the mistakes that doomed our ancestors." Colonel Harper scoffed. "We can't let fear of the past paralyze us. We have the advantage now. We should use it." As the debate raged around him, Bruce's comm unit chimed again. The message he received made his blood run cold. Daxamite forces were massing near their home system, possibly preparing for a final desperate assault on Earth itself. Bruce stood, silencing the room with a raised hand. "We're out of time," he said, his voice firm. "Prepare the fleet. We launch our operation immediately." As his officers scrambled to carry out his orders, Bruce gazed out at the stars. The Defiant, along with its escort of Prometheus warships, stood ready to jump into the heart of Daxamite space. Sarah Chen and her stealth team were preparing to infiltrate the Daxamite homeworld with Dr. Reeves's bioweapon, and a diplomatic shuttle carrying newly appointed Ambassador Elena Vasquez was about to depart for Zephyrian space. Just as Bruce was about to give the order to jump, a final piece of intelligence reached him. Admiral Dana, the Daxamite commander, had uncovered an ancient superweapon of terrifying power. If activated, it could destroy entire star systems. Bruce clenched his fist, his purpose hardening. They had to move fast before the Daxamites could bring this doomsday device online. But as he opened his mouth to give the order, he found himself hesitating. Athena's warning echoed in his mind, along with the faces of all those who depended on him. The fate of humanity, perhaps of the entire galaxy, now rested on the choice he was about to make. Bruce took a deep breath, knowing that whatever he decided, there would be no turning back. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him, but he knew he had to act decisively. Just as Bruce opened his mouth to give the order, his comm unit chimed with an urgent transmission. Ambassador Elena Vasquez's face appeared on the screen, her eyes bright with excitement. "Commander Ward, I have critical news," she said, her voice slightly distorted by the long-range communication. "The Zephyrians have agreed to join our fight against the Daxamites." Bruce's eyebrows shot up. "That's excellent news, Ambassador. What changed their minds?" They've seen the threat the Daxamites pose to the entire galaxy, Elena explained. But their support comes with a condition. They want us to share the advanced technologies we discovered on Prometheus. Bruce's mind raced, weighing the potential risks and benefits. Sharing such advanced technology could have far-reaching consequences, but the immediate need for allies in this fight was paramount. Agreed, Bruce said after a moment's consideration. Tell them we accept their terms. We'll need their ships here as soon as possible. As Elena signed off to finalize the agreement, Bruce turned his attention back to the impending assault. The addition of Zephyrian forces could tip the scales in their favor, but there were still many variables to consider. In the Defiant's main laboratory, Dr. Marcus Reeves and his team were putting the finishing touches on the bioweapon designed to target the Daxamites' artificial genetic structure. Commander Sarah Chen stood nearby, her stealth team ready to take possession of the weapon for their infiltration mission. As Dr. Reeves prepared to hand over the bioweapon, a new voice cut through the tense atmosphere of the lab. "Wait," called out Dr. Ethan Nakamura, a renowned ethicist who had been observing the proceedings. "We need to consider the moral implications of using such a weapon." The room fell silent as all eyes turned to Dr. Nakamura. His face was etched with concern as he continued. "This isn't just a conventional weapon. We're talking about potentially wiping out an entire species. Are we prepared to carry that burden?" Commander Chen's eyes narrowed. "With all due respect, Doctor, the Daxamites haven't shown any hesitation in trying to wipe us out. This could end the war with minimal casualties on both sides. But at what cost to our humanity?" Dr. Nakamura countered. "There's a line between defending ourselves and becoming the very monsters we're fighting against." The debate quickly spread throughout the ship, creating a palpable tension among the crew. Bruce, alerted to the situation, made his way to the lab to address the issue personally. Before he could reach a decision, Colonel Jack Harper burst into the room, his face grim with urgency. "Commander," Harper said, his voice tight, "my recon team just returned. We've located the Daxamite superweapon." Bruce's eyes widened. "Where?" Harper pulled up a holographic display showing a massive space station orbiting a dying star near the edge of Daxamite territory. They call it the Nova Eradicator. It's capable of harnessing the star's energy to destroy entire solar systems. The revelation sent a shockwave through the room. The existence of such a weapon changed everything. Bruce's mind worked furiously, reassessing their strategy in light of this new threat. "We need to modify our plan," Bruce announced, his voice cutting through the murmurs of shock and fear. "We'll split our forces into 4 task forces." He quickly outlined the new strategy. The main assault force would engage the Daxamite home fleet as originally planned, while a specialized strike team led by Colonel Harper would attempt to infiltrate and disable the Nova Eradicator. Commander Chen's stealth team would proceed with their mission to the Daxamite homeworld, but with modified orders to gather intelligence rather than deploy the bioweapon. Finally, a defensive force, soon to be augmented by the Zephyrian ships, would remain to protect human space and Earth from potential counterattacks. As the various teams scrambled to prepare for their new assignments, Chief Engineer Malik Hassan approached Bruce with an excited gleam in his eye. "Commander, I've made a breakthrough with the Prometheus FTL drives," Malik said, pulling up a complex set of calculations on his datapad. "If we synchronize them, we can create a temporary wormhole. It would allow for near-instantaneous travel across vast distances." Bruce's eyes widened at the implications. "That could give us a significant tactical advantage." Malik nodded, but his expression grew serious. "There's a catch, though. Using this technology risks destabilizing local space-time. It could potentially cause catastrophic damage to nearby star systems." Bruce felt the weight of command pressing down on him once again. The wormhole technology could turn the tide of the battle, but at what cost? As he contemplated this new dilemma, the Defiant's long-range sensors suddenly blared an alarm. "Commander," called out the sensor officer, "we're detecting a massive energy surge from the direction of the Nova Eradicator. It looks like they've begun the activation sequence." Time had run out. Bruce straightened his shoulders, his decision made. "All hands, prepare for jump," he ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "We launch now." As the human fleet, joined by their newly arrived Zephyrian allies, prepared to make the jump into Daxamite space, Bruce couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to cross a point of no return. Whatever happened next would shape the future of not just humanity, but the entire galaxy. The ship's engines hummed with building power, ready to catapult them into the heart of enemy territory. Bruce gripped the command console, his eyes fixed on the monitor as the stars began to blur. Jump in 3, 2, 1. One. The Defiant lurched as it tore through space, the stars streaking into brilliant lines of light. Bruce's stomach clenched as the familiar disorientation of FTL travel washed over him. In an instant, they emerged into the heart of Daxamite territory, surrounded by the imposing silhouettes of enemy warships. "Status report," Bruce barked, his eyes scanning the tactical displays. "Multiple Daxamite vessels detected, sir," the sensor officer responded. "The Nova Eradicator is visible at coordinates 227 Mark Is 9. Bruce's mind raced, processing the unfolding situation. The massive space station loomed in the distance, its ominous form backlit by the dying star it orbited. Energy readings from the station spiked ominously, confirming their worst fears. The weapon was powering up. "Commander," Chief Engineer Malik's voice crackled over the comm. "The synchronized FTL drives are ready. We can create the wormhole on your command." Bruce hesitated for a split second, weighing the risks against the immediate threat. The image of Earth, vulnerable and exposed, flashed through his mind. He made his decision. "Do it, Malik. Create the wormhole." "Aye, sir. Initiating wormhole creation now." The space before them shimmered and twisted, reality itself seeming to tear apart as the synchronized Prometheus drives bent the fabric of space-time. A swirling vortex of energy erupted into existence near the Nova Eradicator, its gravitational pull immediately affecting the surrounding area. Daxamite ships closest to the anomaly were caught off guard, their formations breaking as they struggled against the unexpected forces. The Nova Eradicator itself shuddered, its power-up sequence faltering as the wormhole's presence interfered with its systems. "Colonel Harper, you have your window," Bruce commanded. "Get your team onto that station." "Roger that, Commander," Harper's voice responded, tense but determined. "Strike Team Gamma, moving in." Bruce watched as Harper's specialized assault craft darted through the wormhole, bypassing the Daxamite defenses in an instant. They emerged on the other side, making a beeline for the Nova Eradicator's docking bay. "Commander Chen, what's your status?" Bruce asked, switching his attention to the stealth mission. Sarah's voice came through, slightly distorted by interference. "We've successfully infiltrated the Daxamite homeworld, sir. You won't believe what we've found." As Sarah described the vast underground complex and the stasis pods containing genetically diverse Daxamites, Bruce's mind reeled at the implications. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place. The cloned nature of the Daxamite military, their vulnerability to the bioweapon, and now this hidden cache of genetic diversity. The main view screen flickered, showing the unfolding battle. The human-Zephyrian alliance was pressing its advantage, their combined firepower and advanced Prometheus technology proving too much for the Daxamite home fleet. Bruce allowed himself a moment of grim satisfaction as he watched the enemy lines crumble. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. "Commander!" the tactical officer shouted. "We're detecting a massive power surge from the Nova Eradicator." Bruce's blood ran cold. "Harper, report!" Colonel Harper's voice came through, punctuated by the sound of weapons fire. "We've reached the control room, but the weapon's already in the final stages of activation. We can't shut it down conventionally. I'm going to have to overload the core, sir." The implication hung heavy in the air. Harper and his team might not make it out alive. Before Bruce could respond, another transmission cut in. "Commander Ward, this is Dr. Reeves. I've made a breakthrough in understanding Daxamite psychology. They have a deeply ingrained fear of genetic diversity within their society. This could be the key to ending this without further bloodshed." Bruce's mind raced, processing the flood of information. In that moment, a daring plan formed in his mind. "Sarah," he commanded, "release a small number of those genetically diverse Daxamites from stasis. Broadcast their existence to the entire Daxamite fleet." "Sir?" Sarah questioned. surprise evident in her voice. "Do it, Commander. That's an order." As Sarah's team carried out his instructions, Bruce watched the main view screen intently. The effect was almost immediate. Confusion spread through the Daxamite ranks like wildfire. Ships began to break formation, some turning on each other, others simply powering down their weapons. "It's working," Bruce breathed, allowing himself a moment of hope. But the reprieve was short-lived. A new energy signature flared on the tactical display. Admiral Dana's battle station was powering up its main weapons array, preparing to launch a final devastating attack. "All ships, evasive maneuvers!" Bruce shouted. Before the order could be carried out, the battle station's power surge interacted catastrophically with the nearby wormhole. The space around the station warped and buckled, tearing the massive structure apart from within. "Harper, get out of there now!" Bruce yelled into the comm. "Too late for that, sir," Harper's voice came back, calm despite the chaos. "Core's overloading. It's been an honor, Commander." The Nova Eradicator exploded in a blinding flash of light, the force of the blast further destabilizing the wormhole. Bruce watched in horror as the anomaly began to expand rapidly, threatening to engulf both fleets and the nearby star systems. In that moment, Bruce knew what he had to do. "Helm, bring us about. Position the Defiant between the wormhole and the fleet." "Sir?" the helmsman questioned, shocked. "You heard me, Lieutenant. Move us into position. Malik, divert all power to the Prometheus shields. We're going to contain this thing." As the Defiant maneuvered into place, Bruce gripped the arms of his command chair. The ship shuddered as the wormhole's energy battered against their shields. Warning klaxons blared as systems began to overload. "Shields at 60% and falling," Malik reported, his voice strained. Bruce stared out at the swirling vortex of destruction before them, knowing that the fate of countless lives, human, Daxamite, and Zephyrian, rested on their ability to hold the line. The Defiant groaned under the immense forces, and Bruce silently urged the ship to hold together just a little longer. As the wormhole's energy continued to pound against the Defiant's faltering shields, Bruce realized that the next few moments would determine not just the outcome of this battle, but the future of interstellar relations for generations to come. With gritted teeth and unwavering willpower, he prepared to face whatever came next. With a deep breath, Bruce steeled himself for what was to come. "Shields at 40% and dropping rapidly," Malik's voice crackled over the comm, strained with the effort of keeping the Defiant systems operational. The ship shuddered violently, its hull groaning under the immense gravitational forces. Bruce gripped his chair tighter, his squeezing hard as he watched the wormhole's swirling energy batter against their failing defenses. "Reroute all non-essential power to the shields," Bruce ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. "We need to buy more time for the fleet to retreat." As the Defiant held its position, Bruce watched the tactical display with a mix of relief and anxiety. The human and Daxamite ships were slowly pulling back, their signatures moving away from the danger zone. But it wasn't fast enough. Suddenly, Malik's voice cut through the din of alarms and creaking metal. "Commander, I think I've found a way to close the wormhole." Bruce leaned forward, hope flickering in his eyes. "What do you have, Malik?" "If we reverse the polarity of our FTL drives and coordinate with the other Prometheus ships, we might be able to create a controlled implosion," Malik explained rapidly. "It could collapse the wormhole on itself." "Do it," Bruce commanded without hesitation. "Coordinate with the fleet. We'll only get one shot at this." As Malik set to work, Bruce opened a channel to the remaining Prometheus warships. "All ships, this is Commander Ward. Prepare to execute a synchronized FTL drive reversal on my mark. Transmitting coordinates now." The ship rocked violently, nearly throwing Bruce from his chair. Warning klaxons blared as new alerts flashed across the screens. "Hull breaches on decks 3 through 7, the damage control officer reported. "Structural integrity failing." Bruce's mind focused. They were running out of time. "Evacuate all non-essential personnel to the escape pods. Helm, maintain position at all costs." As crew members rushed to carry out his orders, Bruce watched the wormhole on the main view screen. Its chaotic energy seemed to pulse and grow with each passing second, threatening to engulf them all. Prometheus warships in position, Commander, the tactical officer announced, awaiting your signal. Bruce took a deep breath, knowing that the next few moments would determine the fate of not just their ships, but potentially entire star systems. On my mark, 3, 2, 1, execute. The Defiant's engines roared to life, vibrating through the entire ship as they engaged in reverse. Around them, the other Prometheus ships did the same, their combined efforts focused on the heart of the wormhole. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the swirling vortex began to fluctuate wildly, its edges pulsing and contracting. The gravitational forces intensified, threatening to tear apart both the Defiant and the nearby ships. "It's working," Malik shouted over the comm, "but the wormhole's becoming unstable. We need more power." Just as Bruce was about to order all remaining power diverted to the engines, a new voice cut through the chaos. "Commander Ward, this is Lieutenant Zara Vex on the Prometheus ship Valiant. We've detected a pattern in the wormhole's fluctuations. If we use the Defiant's shields to create a resonance frequency, we can amplify the collapse." Bruce didn't hesitate. "Do it, Lieutenant. Malik, coordinate with Vex and implement her strategy." The next few moments were a blur of activity as Malik and Vex worked furiously to adjust their systems. The Defiant's shields, already strained to their limits, began to pulse in a complex rhythm, sending waves of energy into the heart of the wormhole. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The vortex's wild fluctuations suddenly synchronized with the Defiant's shield pulses, its swirling energy collapsing inward with increasing speed. "It's working," Malik shouted triumphantly. "Wormhole collapse at 60%, 70%, 80%. Bruce watched in awe as the massive tear in space-time began to shrink, its destructive energy turning in on itself. But their victory was not without cost. The Defiant shook violently, systems overloading and sparks flying from consoles across the bridge. "Structural integrity critical," the computer's emotionless voice announced. "Hull breach imminent." "Hold together," Bruce muttered, his eyes fixed on the shrinking wormhole. "Just a little longer." With a final blinding flash of light, the wormhole collapsed completely. A massive shockwave erupted from its center, slamming into the Defiant and the surrounding ships with tremendous force. Bruce was thrown from his chair, his world spinning as emergency lights flashed and alarms blared. As he struggled to his feet, he saw the tactical display flickering back to life, showing the aftermath of their bold strategy. The Daxamite fleet was in disarray, many ships drifting powerless or actively surrendering. The Nova Eradicator and Admiral Dana's battle station were gone, destroyed in the chaos of the wormhole's collapse. But the human and Zephyrian fleets had also paid a heavy price, with numerous ships damaged or destroyed. As Bruce surveyed the battered bridge of the Defiant, he knew that their ordeal was far from finished. The immediate threat might have been neutralized, but the real challenges were just beginning. His mind raced with the complexities of what lay ahead, rebuilding their forces, establishing a lasting peace with the Daxamites, strengthening their alliance with the Zephyrians, and responsibly integrating the advanced Prometheus technology. "Commander," Malik's weary voice came over the comm, "primary systems are offline. We're running on emergency power, but we've got teams working to restore main functions." Bruce nodded, even though Malik couldn't see him. "Good work, Chief. Get us back up and running as soon as possible. We've got a lot of work ahead of us." As if to emphasize his point, a transmission came through from Commander Chen on the Daxamite homeworld. "Commander Ward, we've made contact with Admiral Dana. She's agreed to a ceasefire and is willing to cooperate in transitioning Daxamite society. But the situation down here is volatile. We need guidance on how to proceed." Bruce took a deep breath, feeling the weight of command settle on his shoulders once more. The battle might be over, but the real challenge of securing humanity's future in the galaxy was just beginning. He straightened his uniform and turned to address his battered but determined crew. "All right, people," he began, his voice steady and resolute. "Let's get to work. We've got a galaxy to rebuild. Organize and rebuild. The galaxy may never be the same, but we'll make sure it's a better place for all species." As the crew set about their tasks with renewed purpose, Bruce turned his attention to the immediate challenges at hand. The Defiant's damage control teams worked tirelessly to restore critical systems, while medical staff tended to the injured. Bruce coordinated with the remaining ships in the fleet, organizing search and rescue operations for vessels stranded in the battle's aftermath. In the days that followed, the UES Defiant became a hub of activity, its corridors bustling with a mix of human, Daxamite, and Zephyrian personnel. Despite its battle scars, the ancient warship stood as a symbol of resilience and cooperation. 2 weeks after the decisive battle, Bruce convened a historic summit aboard the Defiant. The ship's largest conference room, hastily repurposed from a secondary cargo bay, was filled with an eclectic mix of leaders from all three species. The atmosphere was tense, with centuries of mistrust and recent conflict hanging heavily in the air. Bruce stood at the head of the table, his uniform crisp despite the perpetual repair work around the ship. He surveyed the room, noting the body language of each delegate. The Daxamite representatives sat rigid and aloof, while the Zephyrians seemed to vibrate with nervous energy. His own human counterparts wore expressions of cautious optimism. "We've gathered here today," Bruce began, his voice carrying across the room, "to forge a new path forward. The war is over, but our real work is just beginning." As he spoke, Bruce could see the doubt in some eyes, the skepticism in others. He pressed on, outlining his proposal for a galactic council. "This body will represent all our species equally. No single race will hold sway over the others. Together, we'll make decisions that affect us all." The room erupted into a cacophony of voices. A Daxamite official stood, his face flushed with anger. "You expect us to share power with lesser species? We were an empire when humans were still crawling out of the mud." Before Bruce could respond, Ambassador Elena Vasquez stepped forward, her diplomatic training evident in every measured movement. "With respect, Your Excellency, it's precisely that kind of thinking that led us to war. We must move beyond our past grievances if we're to build a lasting peace." As the debate raged on, Bruce felt a familiar presence in his mind. Athena's voice, cool and logical, provided real-time analysis of the negotiations. Drawing on her tactical insights, Bruce navigated the complex web of interspecies politics. Hours turned into days as the summit continued. Bruce worked tirelessly, mediating disputes and building consensus. Slowly but surely, the outline of a new galactic order began to take shape. Meanwhile, in the Defiant's engineering section, Chief Engineer Malik Hassan led a joint team of human and Zephyrian scientists in studying the Prometheus technology. The air was thick with the smell of ozone and the hum of sophisticated equipment. Malik wiped sweat from his brow as he peered into a holographic display of the Prometheus weapon systems. "There," he said, pointing to a pulsing node in the schematic. "If we can isolate that subsystem, we might be able to deactivate the offensive capabilities without compromising the defensive ones." Dr. Zaira, a Zephyrian quantum physicist, nodded in agreement. "Yes, and if we recalibrate the phase variance here," she indicated another section of the hologram, "we can stabilize the entire network." Their breakthrough came after days of non-stop work. As the final simulations ran, confirming their success, a cheer went up through the lab. Malik grinned, realizing the implications of their work. They had found a way to neutralize the most destructive aspects of the Prometheus weapons while preserving their defensive potential. On the Daxamite homeworld, Commander Sarah Chen found herself in the midst of a different kind of battle. The planet was a study in contrasts. Gleaming cities of impossible architecture stood alongside refugee camps housing the newly awakened diverse Daxamites. Sarah moved through the crowded streets, her uniform drawing curious glances from passers-by. She was headed to yet another meeting with Daxamite faction leaders, her datapad filled with proposals and counterproposals. In a grand hall that once housed the Daxamite High Command, Sarah faced a room divided. On one side sat the clone faction, their identical faces a sea of mistrust. On the other, the diverse Daxamites, still adjusting to their new reality. "We've made progress," Sarah announced, her voice firm but encouraging. "The framework for a constitutional monarchy is in place. It preserves your traditions while embracing necessary change." A murmur ran through the room. A clone representative stood, his face a mask of skepticism. "And who would sit on this throne? One of us or one of them?" He gestured dismissively toward the diverse Daxamites. Sarah took a deep breath, preparing for the delicate dance of diplomacy. "The monarch will be chosen from among the diverse Daxamites," she said, holding up a hand to quell the immediate outcry. "But real power will rest with a democratically elected parliament, open to all Daxamites." As the debate raged on, Sarah caught the eye of a young, diverse Daxamite woman. In her face, Sarah saw a glimmer of hope, a vision of what Daxamite society could become. With revitalized commitment, she pressed on, working to bridge the divide and build a stable future for all Daxamites. Back on the Defiant, Dr. Marcus Reeves hunched over a microscope in the medical lab, his eyes wide with excitement. On the slide before him, Daxamite cells were undergoing a remarkable transformation. "Incredible," he muttered, straightening up to look at his team. "The human stem cell therapy, combined with Daxamite genetic engineering techniques, it's working." His assistant, a young Daxamite scientist, leaned in to look. "You mean?" Reeves nodded, a smile spreading across his face. "We've done it. We can give the cloned Daxamites genetic diversity, no more susceptibility to species-wide plagues." As the implications of their discovery sank in, the lab erupted into a flurry of activity. Reeves knew that this breakthrough would have far-reaching consequences, not just for Daxamite society, but for the entire galaxy. In a remote sector of space, Colonel Jack Harper stood on the bridge of his new command, the Interspecies Security Force ship Peacekeeper. The ship's crew was a mix of humans, Daxamites, and Zephyrians, a microcosm of the new galactic order they were working to establish. "Sir," his tactical officer called out, "we're picking up energy readings consistent with a Daxamite superweapon. It's coming from that abandoned station at the edge of the system." Harper's eyes narrowed as he studied the tactical display. "Looks like our intel was good. All right, people, this is what we've trained for. Let's show the galaxy what this new force can do." As the Peacekeeper moved into position, Harper felt a familiar surge of adrenaline, but this time it was tempered by a new sense of purpose. They weren't fighting for one species or one planet anymore. They were fighting for peace, for all. The ship's comm system crackled to life. "Colonel Harper, this is Commander Ward. Good hunting out there. Remember, minimal casualties if possible. We're here to keep the peace, not start another war." Harper nodded, even though Bruce couldn't see him. "Understood, Commander. We'll get it done." As the Peacekeeper prepared to engage the rogue Daxamite faction, Harper realized that this mission was more than just a peacekeeping operation. It was a test, a chance to prove that their disparate species could work together toward a common goal. With a determined set to his jaw, Harper gave the order to begin their approach. The future of their fledgling alliance hung in the balance, and he was determined not to let it fail before it had truly begun.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.